It's Monday, May 5th, 2025. Terry Bradshaw here out at the UVM Horticulture Research Education Center orchard. As you can see, we are at the full pink bud stage. This is a mixed-use block of semi-dwarf trees. Right here is a tall spindle block of Macintosh. Macintosh is our key indicator variety that we use, so everyone's on the same page. And you can see a few warm days and these are going to pop, and we'll be in bloom this week. So that means a few things. Number one, we've really got to be paying attention to the fire blight model in NIWA, or whatever method you use, but pretty much everyone uses NIWA. This assumes that there is bacteria that is in the orchard, the surrounding area, which is pretty common. It's fairly ubiquitous around Vermont now. That you have open blossoms, that you have accumulated heat, enough accumulated heat that allows that bacteria to multiply to an effective potential. And then you've got wetness during bloom. This is all for the bloom blight stage of fire blight. Right now, I looked at the model last night. We're actually in pretty low, heading into a pretty low likelihood of disease potential because it's been so cool. All it's going to take is a few warm days, so we're going to be watching this every day through the bloom period. The other critical pest management thing to think about right now is apple scab. We've been into 5 or 6 day long wetting period. So this is a really long extended infection period or series of infection periods. So you just got to keep covered. And if you come in between kind of a long wetting period, you may want to think about using one of those single site frat code 37911 materials like a DMI fungicide or a strobilurine fungicide to give you a little bit of backwards activity back to cover up for any potential lack of coverage you might have had going into that wetting period. The other thing is, right now, you can see this ground cover. This is pretty green. This is pretty weedy. This is the period that we should be thinking about getting herbicides down. This block of tall spindle trees is really difficult for me to apply herbicides, and this is why. You see those red leaves? Those are rootstocks. Those are suckers coming up from a bud 9 rootstock. And if I already hit those with our typical fungicide that we use, glyphosate, I'm probably going to do some damage to the tree because it's going to get wicked into the tree. So we're going to have to come in here pretty quick and do a haircut and get rid of these root suckers. The nice thing is they're red, and this is kind of our suckeriest spot. Yeah, we're going to need to get something down pretty quick. You can see in the semi-dwarf, it's pretty hairy in there. We don't worry too much. These are 30-something-year-old, 35-year-old trees that, the root systems can pretty well outcompete. This is not a particularly intensive system. You see big gaps in between the trees. But it's a highly producing block. So we've been using herbicides in here just around the bases, mostly to try to keep Asiatic bittersweet at bay. That's one of our worst woody climbing vine weeds in the orchard, but I don't worry too much about weed control right up to the trunk, unlike in the tall spindle system. So this is a really important week for weed management in the orchard, for apple scab management, and for fire blight management. As we're moving so close into bloom, I'm less and less comfortable with applying any pre-bloom insecticide. I did check the European apple sawfly traps. This is the time that you would try to sneak a spray on before bloom to knock those pests down, but I didn't find a single one, so it makes no sense for us to apply one. But we could go, if we have a long cool period, we could go 10 days or 2 weeks with insects active in the orchard, but no ability to put on insecticide because we're heading into bloom. And I've already got a couple flowers that are open, so we're already off the books as far as putting on any insecticide until we get all the flowers out. I did set the rest of our other traps. There's still nothing caught in here, so I'll be showing you the pheromone traps as we go along. Otherwise, stay dry this week, keep covered, and hopefully we'll see some folks out at the twilight meetings we're having on May 8th in Moncton, Vermont at Yates Orchard, and May 9th in Springfield, Vermont at Wellwood Farm. Thanks. We'll see you soon. Bye.